Good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm like drinking my leftover coffee from brunch today, and it is 11:36 p.m. It's still early. Get a little lip balm action going on. Just got off the phone with Mel. We were picking our book for February for the book club. We're doing a year of true crime, if you didn't already know. So we picked our book. I'm gonna do the booktube video tomorrow, and then she's gonna announce it on the book club. We're very excited about it. We picked out some other books that we want to read this year, so that was really fun. We talked forever about all the different books we want to read, and we were talking about other stuff. So anyway, and then while we were sitting here, I was playing with my nail and I chipped my nail, and now it's driving me crazy. And I brought my little mittens tonight, and I haven't had to really use them yet this winter, so let's hope I don't have to start anytime soon. Today was a good day. Let's see, we got up, we went to brunch. It was packed at brunch today. Ordered the same thing I always order, and I didn't really eat a whole lot of it. I wasn't super hungry. And Alex wasn't either. He usually gets a bowl of chili, and he just got a cup of chili today, and then he gets the Cuban breakfast. And I didn't finish my omelet, didn't finish my bagel, didn't finish my potatoes. I just wasn't super hungry. And then we came home, and we usually come home, and then he goes upstairs and he starts watching TV, but he falls asleep, real quick. And today I was like, I just kind of want to relax around the house. I'm not going to make any videos today. I'm just going to, he and I were going to actually film a video together that I think we're going to maybe do next week sometime, for next week sometime, but I don't want to say what it is because, well, it's for my review channel, but it'll be fun when he comes on there and does it. But anyway, so yeah, so I was like, you know what, I just kind of want to hang out and relax with my husband today. So I didn't film any videos, and I finished The Innocent Man on Netflix. I'm going to do my review of that tomorrow on my review channel. So by the time this is up, you guys can go check out it'll probably be up. Well, I've been posting my vlog really early lately, so it probably won't be up yet. But sometime today, it will be up, my review of The Innocent Man. So if you've seen it, you can go over and see it if you agree with me. If you haven't seen it, I usually do pretty much spoiler-free reviews. I won't say anything or give anything away that will ruin it for anybody. But I'm going to save what I thought about it until tomorrow. I'm not going to say anything about it till then. So anyway, yeah, but it was a good day. We just kind of hung out and relaxed with the dogs, and Alex put on his pajamas and his robe and just laid in bed all day, and I kind of did the same, and it was nice. It was just kind of stress-free. It was really like how a Sunday should be. Very cold. The snow is still everywhere in Indianapolis. It's very pretty. It is, ooh, it's 18 degrees outside right now, but it's pretty. I don't mind the cold when we have a lot of snow. I just like to stay at home a little bit more inside when it's cold like this. Okay, you guys, if you want to know what it's like to buy a new car with getting suggestions from people, you should go read the comment sections of my video, of my vlog from yesterday, and then just go straight through and just read comment after comment. I am so confused on what I should go buy now. But I have to say, okay, here's the thing. I really want a Jeep Wrangler because I think they look so fun to drive. But literally everybody except for one of my friends has told me, well, Tanya too. I mean, Tanya's had a Jeep Wrangler, but she says they're bad on gas. But she has a Jeep Wrangler in her garage right now, just not like one that she drives every day. She keeps it for like fun in the summer and stuff like that. not her, but I have another friend of mine who, like, she and her whole family, like, her husband, her daughter, her son, they all drive Jeep Wranglers, and she swears by them. But other than that, like, everybody in the world has told me that I shouldn't get a Jeep Wrangler. A couple people messaged me and said, like, you know, I don't understand this negative attitude towards Jeeps. Not Jeep the brand, I just want to make this clear. Like, I know people have been very, very happy with, like, Jeep Cherokees and things like that, but overall, like, Jeep Wranglers are a really rough ride, I've heard. They're bad on gas mileage. They're just not super safe. People just don't love them. So past just, like, getting in that. Now, I won't tell you that I'm not necessarily gonna, I mean, if I get in one and I'm like, this is the car for me, I'm gonna get it. But I looked at a lot of different cars online today. I actually looked at a Jeep Compass, a couple different Jeep Compasses, I think is what they're called. They're super affordable. They're very nice inside. The gas mileage is good. I looked at some Fords. I don't really want to get another Ford. This is my third Ford in a row. I'm not going to dedicate an entire half an hour to talking about cars on here again. But I went through and I kind of picked out some different cars that I thought I might like. I looked at a couple different Nissans. I've had a Nissan before. So I've actually had two Nissans. I drove an Xterra and I drove a Pathfinder, and I have to tell you that the Nissan Xterra was probably one of my favorite cars I've ever driven in my entire life. I don't think that they are still making them, but I would drive another Nissan Xterra like tomorrow. So I may look and see. I have no idea if they're still making them or not, but if they are, I may go to the Nissan dealership and see if they're still making them. Yeah, so that was about my day, looking at cars and listening a lot to my audiobook. I'm listening to Hank Green's new book, which is really, really good. Really good. Really different than what I thought it would be about. So, when you read the synopsis for it, it's about, like, this girl that has a viral YouTube video, but it doesn't go in and explain really any more than that. And it's hilarious because, anyway, it's just hilarious the whole way that it's told, and it's done very, very well. And it's very interesting too. So it's kind of like it reminds me of a mix between, like, Fault in Our Stars and Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel, if you read that book, which is about aliens. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. But anyway, so yeah. All of the kids, like, in the neighborhoods around our house were, like, outside yesterday and today, and they were all, like, building snow forts and building snowmen and stuff like that. And I don't know if I talked about this on here or not, but, like, last night when I was driving home from getting food for us, there was this girl, and she was, like, I don't even know how old she was, but she was, like, outside, and she had, like, one of those, you know, those snow block things? I used to have one when I was a kid. And she was making this, like, fort, right? And, we drove by there today, and I told, because I wanted to show it to Alex. I mean, it was, like, a legit fort. And I told Alex, I said, because when I saw her out there, it was, like, I mean, it was dark. It was probably, like, 8:15. I can't remember what time it was, but it was dark. And, it so reminded me of myself when I was her age. I always was playing by myself, and, you know, like, I would have, like a deliberate mission that I wanted to accomplish, and, it was just sweet seeing her out there doing that. There was something I wanted to talk about on here today. There was, like, a story that I wanted to tell, and now I can't remember what the story was. Guess it doesn't really matter. I have my training appointment tomorrow at 1, and I'm gonna get back on track because this has been, like, a bad week and a half, 2 weeks while I've been sick. Like, eating basically anything in the world that I wanted to eat and not working out. So tomorrow I have my training appointment, and then I am back on track, getting in shape. We have 3 weeks until we go to LA, and then we have, like, 10 or 11 weeks until we go to Miami. which I'm very excited about. And then we're gonna, you know, Mexico right after that, so it'll be really fun. It's so funny, like when a text comes up, because it comes up on this thing, and you see it like lights up the whole thing. Mel from, I was gonna say Mel from the book club. Mel, I've talked about her enough. She just texted me. She couldn't remember something she wanted to tell me on the phone, so I was like, oh, no. So I was like, if you remember, text me, so. Gas is so interesting in Indianapolis right now. Like, it goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. It's 208 right now here. And, which this gas right here for my area is pretty average. And it's interesting because, I don't know if it's, the camera is wobbling or not. You hear all that snow? It's like there's snow everywhere. She said, I want to be on your podcast, by the way. Okay, Mel. I really am thinking about starting a podcast, though. I just think I don't know when I'm gonna start it. It'll probably be sometime, probably summerish. And I want to do like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but each week will be a different topic. And I want to really kind of make it like Coast to Coast AM, because I love that show so much. So I want to talk about like conspiracy theories, paranormal stuff, true crime, all that kind of stuff. Just weird stories. Take wild card lines, but I won't call it wild card line, obviously, you know. Or I may just do like stories from my life, or, you know, have different people on and we tell stories together or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do. If you guys have suggestions, let me know. That's why I don't want to rush into it. I really want to think it out before I do it. But I'll probably do like between like a half an hour and an hour a week, but it'll only be like once a week. I don't want to overcommit myself more than that. It seems so weird that we're halfway through January already. Oh, we went to the mall after we ate brunch. Alex had to return a few things to Urban Outfitters. So we went to Urban Outfitters. I bought 2 scarves, like just like handkerchiefs, you know, that I'm gonna, this spring, I'm gonna like, I think to Ultra, I'm gonna wear like V-neck white t-shirts and then tie these scarves around my neck. And then I bought something else. Oh, I bought this lip gloss while I was there. That hat, I might have it with me actually. Did I put it back in the bag? I don't remember. Don't slide. Oh shoot. At least it didn't slide. I thought it was gonna slide all the way down. I don't think I put the lip gloss in here. It was like this lip gloss, it was like $6 or $8, and it had flowers in it, and it was like strawberry flavored lip gloss. No, but I'm losing my chopstick. Over there. I wish I could remember what I was gonna tell. I was gonna tell something about, I think it was a story about my mom. I was thinking about my mom earlier today, something funny about my mom. Okay, somebody commented, as I'm talking about the Playboy Mansion, let me put my lip gloss on. Somebody commented on my video, this cracked me up so much, and they said, I don't remember something about Donna Summer and Hugh Hefner being friends, or something like that. They weren't. It was totally made up. We were kids, like, in our, don't you know, like, when you're kids, you, like, make up all this crap, like, I think the reason that my friend was Donna Summer was because we were listening to Donna Summer. We used to listen to the Bad Girls album and like on the radio, like, all the time. Someone wrote a letter about you. Someone read a letter they wrote about you on the radio. I can't remember the words. And the words told just how they felt. Did you guys ever see the movie Foxes with Jodie Foster? Oh my god, that movie was so fantastic. And that was like the song they played through the whole movie. I love that movie so much. That is one of the greatest movies ever. There were these two movies that came out in like the 70s that were like really horribly sad and a lot about drugs, but I really, really liked them. And Foxes was one of them with Jodie Foster, and it had that girl in it from The Runaways. I think her name is, I can't remember her name is, Mary Cherry or something like that. And but I loved that girl, and she was actually in a couple movies. She was in Foxes, but then there was this movie called with Matt Dillon, and it was called Over the Edge, I think. And it was about this town, like in California, like a suburban town, and all these kids like constantly did drugs and stuff. It was just really sad, and it was about like there was like nothing for them to do in this like suburban. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The cover of it is like him like riding his bike, and they're like standing there. It was like Matt Dillon's very first movie, I think, ever. Was it Matt Dillon? I think it was. God, what happened to him? Not a whole lot, right? I have both of those movies. I own them both on VCR. I've been thinking recently that I need to buy like a VCR. You can get them at Walmart for like super cheap, like 20 or 30 bucks. But I need to buy a VCR just so that I have it at home to watch like all of my tapes on, in case like the VCRs that we have don't work someday, which I'm sure they probably won't, or won't connect to a TV or something. But because I have so many VCR tapes and I don't really want to get rid of them. But the thing is, most of the things that you want to find, like most of the movies these days that you want to find, like if you want to watch, like you can find them streaming. You know, and the thing is that like a while ago when I would watch movies, like I would put them in like my VCR, and just like if I was in my bedroom, like I would turn it on, like always. I did that with so many movies for so long that I just always had a movie on in the background. But I don't really do that anymore. And now, if I do that with like Netflix, or just turn on cable, because we have that fantastic remote that you just like, you know, shout into, and then like it pulls up all these movies, and so we don't really need it, you know what I mean? Which is great. But at the same time, it kind of makes me sad, like the whole change in technology. I like having, you know, videotapes. Does anybody out there still watch their videotapes? Their VCR tapes or Betamax? That was before that. I do have some Betamax tapes in my basement though. I have like a Betamax and like a Betamax recording camera. This is one road they obviously did not salt. And all this, and Betamax, like blank tapes and stuff in my basement. And my friend and her husband, they sell a bunch of stuff on eBay. And she saw it, like, in my basement. I was, like, showing her some stuff. And she was like, oh, that's worth quite a bit of money. And blah, blah, blah. I said, you can have it. I said, take it out of here. And take that old-ass TV with you. Because I had this old TV that's, like, turn knob TV, you know? And, she's like, don't you want to keep that TV down here in the basement so you can watch stuff on it? I was like, no. But now I'm like, I might just keep the TV, because I can just put it on like channel 3 and put a VCR down there, and then like watch VCR tapes in my basement when I'm like working and doing stuff down there. Because I'm always, of course, working in my basement. I'm never down there working, unless I'm cleaning stuff out, which I've slowly been doing a little bit at a time. So where else did we go at the mall? Okay, so then we left there. We left Urban Outfitters after Alex returned his stuff. And then we went to Abercrombie & Fitch. I'm like hoping I can remember what I wanted to talk about, because there was like a story that I wanted to tell on here and now I can't remember it. And I think it was actually like a story that I don't remember telling before on here. But anyway, Alex wanted to go to Abercrombie & Fitch. He always is like, I love their new look to everything. And I'm like, their stuff literally looks exactly like it did 20 years to me. Like, it doesn't look any different. And he's kind of going through this phase where he really likes their stuff again. I don't know why, but anyway. I just think their stuff is really overpriced. Now, the outlet mall in Edinburgh that I go to sometimes, like, they're pretty reasonably priced, but like just regular okay, they have this coat in there that's like a puffy coat, like my puffy coat that I have. It was $240. It's plaid. It's red plaid. It is adorable. But I have enough coats that I am not buying another winter coat, like, when we're already halfway through winter. But Alex was like, your coat is on sale. Did you see that? And it is a really cute coat. It's red plaid. I mean, it's very classic that you could wear it, you know, several winters in a row. It was marked $100 off. And I was like, it was $149. I'm still like, $149 is a lot of money for a coat in the middle of January. Like, I still think that's a lot of money, right? For Abercrombie, I mean, hell, my Ralph Lauren coat, which standing next to this dad in Urban Outfitters today, we both had the exact same coat on. The exact same coat on. And I just kept on looking at him. He didn't notice it. But anyway, he was lecturing his daughter on how much she was spending at Urban Outfitters. And he's like, I'm trying to teach you money management. I'm like, at the counter of Urban Outfitters. She looked so embarrassed. I felt so bad for her. But anyway, I am way too nosy in situations like that. But anyway, so he said something to her about, like, she was getting something, and he was like, aren't you glad that you're getting this one because it's cheaper? I'm teaching you money management. She didn't look like she was a whole lot happier. She was getting the cheaper version of it, whatever it was. But anyway, my husband, we were walking out, he held up this, like, gold terry cloth looking shirt. He goes, love this. I go, that is so ugly. Anyway, what was I gonna say? So yeah, Abercrombie & Fitch, I don't know what I was gonna say, but I didn't get the coat. And then we went down to Sephora, and we looked around Sephora for a little bit. And then we went to Burberry. And then we walked into Coach. And I wanted to go into Lululemon, but it was packed, and I have absolutely no reason to be in Lululemon. Because I need to get high-end workout clothes so I feel fancy. And did we go on anywhere else? We ran into some people that we knew, and we stopped and talked to them for a little bit. I mean, it's never a Sunday unless you go to the mall and you see people you know, right? I kind of do love that, though. It reminds me of, like, small town. Oh my God, it stopped and I didn't even know I was anywhere near the end. I just was sitting here in my head thinking it just beeped. Anyway, so yeah, that was our really exciting shopping trip at the mall today. We didn't really, I spent, the handkerchiefs that I bought were $8 each. They're really cute though. One's like green and one's like blue, and they have these little yellow flowers on them. But they're kind of weirdly masculine. And then of course my lip gloss that I bought that has flowers in it. And it's like strawberry flavored. Applebee's is really pumping tonight. We haven't been to Applebee's in a long time. I love Applebee's. I mean, it's not like my favorite place in the entire world, but I like it, and it's really reasonable. Now I've got that Donna Summer song stuck in my head. And they told the world just how they felt. Someone read a letter they wrote you on the radio, and they told the world just how they felt. Oh my God, I used to roller skate to her back in the day. Bad Girls, MacArthur Park. Talking about bad girls. Do you guys remember that? Aw, beep beep, ha. I have always been a dancer ever since a little kid. Like, I mean, I always, hey, if the music's on, I'm dancing. I love it. Do you guys want to know a funny story? I could not snap my fingers until I came out. That is a true story. Z formation. Do you remember that Z formation thing? Stupid. Oh, gas is $2.11 here, so I guess it's not just $2.08. I think actually it wasn't about my mom. I think it was another conspiracy I was going to tell you guys about. You know what's interesting tonight? So I finished The Innocent Man, which I really liked how they wove John Grisham, who wrote the book The Innocent Man. His only nonfiction, his only foray into nonfiction was The Innocent Man. He said that like several times on the thing. But I didn't know that he was part of the Innocence Project. He's really interesting. Now, I will tell you that The Innocent Man, here's my like mini review. It's not as good as like The Making of a Murderer or like the Stephen Avery case. It's just not that interesting. The lawyers are good, but they're not as good as Kathleen Zellner, like as far as like entertainment value to watch. They don't seem to like, but they do seem as educated, but just they don't present it in like a super exciting way. It just isn't one of those shows. The end of it was filmed so beautiful, but you know what was interesting to me is that like I know it took place in Oklahoma, and I think about like these cases that take place like in these small towns, right? And you know, like the Midwest or much of America, you know, is built on this idea of the small town. Like, yes, Indianapolis, okay, like Indianapolis is kind of a weird city because it's a big city, but it's like spread out, right? So like where I'm at right now, like you would this is considered Indianapolis, but you like people wouldn't consider it like downtown Indianapolis, if that makes sense. And because it's not downtown Indianapolis, it's the north side of Indianapolis. And then there's the south side of Indianapolis, which is like a half an hour from here. So Indianapolis is kind of spread out. But like exclusively the part that's downtown is like tall buildings and stuff, like is all like in a certain area, right? Okay, so the majority of Indiana then is smaller towns. Even big towns like Fort Wayne, Columbus, Gary. What else is in Indiana that's big? I can't think. I know somebody's like Richmond. I know people are like shouting stuff at me. But even like those cities that are like bigger cities are not like big cities, right? Like they're bigger, small cities. And they're surrounded by a lot of small towns that are kind of like Ada, Oklahoma. That's in The Innocent Man. And what's interesting about it is that they talk about in this movie, like in the documentary, a lot of what they talk about is like the power structure of that area and how like the people that are wrongfully convicted, it's another wrongful conviction story. The people that are wrongfully convicted are talking about how there's this power structure in that area, and that the rich are running everything, and they have all the power, and then there's this whole thing about with this police officer. Well, the prosecutor, first of all, is quite frankly a horse's ass, and like will not back down that he did anything wrong ever. Like never even apologizes to like the family of the victims and say like, I'm sorry, I got the wrong person. Like he's like, I did the best that I could with him, like with what we had. Like will not back down like whatsoever. And I'm just like, it's unreal watching it. But what's so interesting watching it is whether it's this huge conspiracy with the police and everybody working together, because it's all wrapped around re-election times, or if it just happens to be total coincidence, which I never believe in coincidence. The thing that's interesting about it is that like, they don't want to acknowledge that there are power structures that are set up in small towns like that, right? And, you know, like in every one of these movies, it's always interesting to me how they like throw something out at the last minute. Like if you watch Making a Murderer, the second season, the thing that was really interesting about the second season was like literally in the last episode, I think it was the coroner, she like did like an interview for the movie about like how they never let her come out there. They never let her, like, it was just all weird, right? And in this one, in the very last episode, like in the last 20 minutes, they talk about this witness, this jail witness they had, who she got testimony, or she gave testimony because she had overheard two different killers confess to the murders. Two different murderers from two different crimes confessed to their, I mean, like, how has that happened? And then this crazy stuff came out about her involvement with these police that would have put her in a situation where she was afraid to be dishonest. And it's like, okay, how can you sit there on a documentary that you know is going to be made, okay, and put on Netflix? There's been a book that's been written about you, and they hate John Grisham. I mean, it is, at the end, in the last episode, these people, like they wrote him a letter. They're like, I wrote John Grisham a letter, I wrote the author a letter and told him what I thought, like he could care less. They tried to sue John Grisham, and it, like, got thrown out of court, like, before he even got any, like, leverage on it. John Grisham talks about it. He was like, they didn't have a leg to stand on because they knew that they were fighting facts. And that's the thing. It's like, how long do you perpetuate this story that there's not power structures in small towns, okay? Like, I live in the middle of Indiana. I am surrounded by small towns. I literally live in small town America. Everybody that lives in small town America knows it's all about power and money. Everybody knows about that. It's about re-election. It's about who lives on the right side of the tracks versus the wrong side of the tracks, okay? You know that. It's not it doesn't take a genius to know that. Hell, I worked in treatment facility for 13 years, and I had contracts with, like, a lot of the different, you know, counties in Indiana, and I worked with the probation departments, and I worked with all of the judges in those towns. You know the ins and outs. You know who's up for re-election. You know how that stuff works, you know? And it's like, how can you sit there and be any part of that system and not know that that's how it works? You know what I mean? Like, it's just as baffling to me. It's just really interesting to me. And you know, like, and that's in Indiana. Like, I have to think that in a town like Ada, Oklahoma, that's so small, like, it has to even be, like, it's really small. I mean, we have towns like that in Indiana that, like, on the interstate, you drive past at night, you know, it's like, oh, there's, you know, you don't even know what the name of it is, but you, like, see it as you drive by, and then it's gone in a blink of an eye, you know, but... And the other thing that's interesting to me that's really spooky about this stuff is, like, when this thing happened, especially, like, so the Denise Haraway case and the Deborah Sue Carter case that are, like, I think they're, like, 2 or 4 years, two years apart. Like, all of these people that were convicted of the murders and all the people that were suspects in the murders, they all knew each other. And the victims. They, like, all went to, well, not Debbie, not, what's her face, Denise Haraway, but Debbie Sue Carter, like, she and, like, the people that supposedly murdered her and the people that supposedly are the suspects for the murder, like, they all went to school together for 12 years. Like, they all knew each other. How scary is that to think that, like, you know, just on some random night that people are just, like, driving around and it leads to, like, this rape and murder case that 35 years later people are talking about. Like, and there's a documentary about it on Netflix, you know? Like, how crazy is that? But we still to this day don't know. And the thing that's really, really sad about The Innocent Man, I know I said I wasn't going to do a whole review here, I've gone on about it, was this Debbie Sue Carter's mom is on there, and she just broke my heart. I feel like I know so many people like her, and, you know, she, This one part I was telling Tanya about this. I may have talked about it on here last night, but she said, I'm gonna use this Tatcha gold lip balm that Elle Leary sent me. Hey Elle, she watches all the vlogs, I love her. She's my newest texting friend, we text. We talk on the phone too. But, so nice. What was I gonna say? Oh, the Debbie Sue Carter's mom is like, there's this part at the end where she says she wrote so they finally do get the two people, well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but they finally do get the real killer. And so she writes them a letter, and she's like, you're the only person alive that can give me answers of what happened, basically, at my end of my daughter's life, and I just want to know. I'm 75 years old, I'm not going to know some of these things. And he doesn't write her back. And she's just like, and the thing that's so tragic about it is that that he killed her with these two gifts that she gave him. She says it twice in the documentary. She's like, they found her body and she was on top of this electric blanket cord and this Western belt, and she bought both of them for her. And you could tell she like indirectly blames herself. Like, if I hadn't bought these things, like maybe he wouldn't have, you know, she, like, one of the things she asks in the letter, she says, is that, like, why those, I think she says, why those things, or something like that. And, you know, it's just real sad. It's just, it's very, very sad, you know? Just all these unanswered questions, I think. And you know, it was interesting because at the end of it, this Tommy Ward, who like is a huge part of it, and he's still in prison, and he said, you know, like, when you're sitting at home and you watch this, it unfolds like a TV show. But like in a TV show, they end up getting the right guy at the end. And he was like, but for this, there's no like resolution to it. And you know, like, that's so true. It's like, we live in this culture, in this society, where we watch these, and I'm part of that, you know, where we watch these Netflix shows, and we form an opinion about, you know, Tommy Ward, and Stephen Avery, and Brendan Dassey, and, you know, the guy from The Staircase, but we don't really know. You know, I mean, we really have no idea, and we sure as shit have no idea what it's like to live that experience, you know what I mean? And so, how tragic is that? Like, that's sad, you know? He's been in prison for like 35 years, this Tommy Ward guy. I mean, like, that's almost my entire life. I just can't even imagine, you know? It's always interesting to me, like, the things that I hold on to when I watch those things, you know, like they're very, okay, because it's like a small town, and like, I'm not necessarily saying that this is like small town mentality, but I do think that there's more religiosity when you look at small towns, you know, sometimes, because I think a lot of those towns are formed around churches and things like that, and church is definitely a part of this documentary. And so they're talking about, like, you know, at one point, this one guy, his sister and brother-in-law, like, his brother-in-law, like, is a minister. They, like, show that throughout, like, the documentary. And they ended on that, actually, which, the way that the documentary ends is just beautifully shot. I was just really impressed with it. I actually was like, it's kind of interesting to me that they didn't film more of it this way, because whoever filmed this documentary did a fantastic job. It's beautifully shot at the end. I mean, it's almost like some Oscar-winning movie. It's literally, like, only 10 seconds of the whole thing, and I was just like, I rewound it like twice, because I was like, this is beautiful how it is, and the song that this guy's singing as he's leaving the church and stuff. But But what's interesting to me is that I love moments that are just captured like that. Like, I love photography like that. That's just like, you know, somebody sitting at a bus stop, or, you know, like somebody like just standing in a church pew. You know, like, I love that kind of like, you know, just like those caught moments. I think the human soul is in those moments. I love that. And that's very much, like, I wish the documentary had been kind of more like that. Like, The Staircase is definitely like a crime documentary, you know, and like, but when you think of like really, really just great documentary film that really captures people's personalities, like The Wonderful and Wild Whites of West Virginia, is that what it's called? Like, or The Wild whatever, like, that's a documentary that really like captures, like, just really captures who those people are, you know. And I feel like at this point I've seen so many documentaries. That is absolutely probably one of my all-time favorite documentaries. And I loved The Queen of Versailles, which was so random that I watched that one night, but it was so well done. And then the last year, let's see what else I watched. I watched The Keepers, I watched The Staircase, Making a Murderer, Making a Murderer 2, God, what, I'll tell you the one that I love so much. You talk about personalities. The Life and Death of Marsha P. Johnson. Oh my God. Who was a trans activist in New York City, and she was murdered off the Christopher Street Pier. That was fantastic. That movie, the documentary that I watched not too long ago, was really, really good. And I just kind of caught that one night when I was watching the Marsha P. Johnson, Paris is Burning. That's probably my all-time favorite documentary of life, Paris is Burning. But when I was watching The Life and Death of Martha P. Washington, was that her name? Washington? Is that her name? Marsha P. Johnson. But Martha Washington. Peter, get your history facts straight. But when I was watching that, I found that one called, oh, I can't remember what her name is, but The Catch One, and it was about that African-American LGBT bar in Los Angeles that was really famous. That was such a great documentary. The documentary about Michael Alig, Faded Glory, I think it's, or Glory Days, that was really good. The cover was cheesy as hell, but that was really good. A couple years ago, Alex and I watched the one about the new creative director for Dior. I actually don't even think he's a creative director for Dior anymore, but he did it was like his first show, putting it together. That was great. Unzipped, was it Unzipped? Was that what it was called, with Isaac Mizrahi? That back in the day was fantastic. Oh shoot, what was the one that Tanya had me watch about the homeless woman in Los Angeles? That was so good. That like Zach Galifianakis and those people like bought her an apartment and stuff like that. That was such a great documentary. Oh, God Knows Where I'm At. That was one of my favorites of last year. And that's on Netflix right now. You can go check it out. That was such a great documentary. You want to talk? That is a documentary to watch in the snow and in the stillness. I mean, that is just such like a still documentary. It's so good. And that's about mental health. I need another documentary to watch. Something like just really, really good. But you know what's interesting about watching documentaries or these documentary series and things like that, which, you know, are super, you know, popular on Netflix, is that, like I said, like, these are people's lives. It's not just entertainment, you know? And I think that, like, even I forget that sometimes, you know? It's like we form opinions and we talk about it, you know, but at the same time, it's like their life. Like, do not believe that Steve, like, who was that? Tanya and I were talking the other day about, she asked me, she's like, we haven't really talked about it. She's like, do you think Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey did it? And I said, absolutely not. And she goes, well, who do you think did it? And I said, I think his brother and stepfather did it, Brendan Dassey's. And I think the police knew that, and I think that they didn't want to pay Stephen Avery, so when they had the information that came out, that they could make it look like it was Stephen Avery, and it all fell together. I don't think it was a conspiracy the way that everybody wants to make it out to be. I don't think it was like planted evidence and all this kind of stuff. It might have been, I don't know. I just think that when pieces started falling into place, the police played with that. Although, like, at the end, there's like some things that are planted evidence that I think they had to, like, I think they had a piece here, a piece here, a piece there, and a piece there that made it all go together, and all they needed was the missing pieces in between, and I think that's where the planted evidence and stuff came in. Because I think they added the planted evidence in between to make all the pieces match, if that makes sense, and make it a cohesive story. And what's really interesting about this, when you, like, this is one of the points on The Innocent Man that I really, really liked, is that there's a woman at the end that comes in, and she's like a journalist. I'd say she's like in the last 2 or 3 episodes of it. It's only 6 episodes. It's really short. She comes in and she talks about how, I think it's her that's talking about it, that when we talk about confessions, okay, and like false confessions, that police are really trying to create a story. Because if they can get a confession that's a story from beginning, like from what happened at the beginning, the middle, and the end, and they can present that to a prosecutor that can then present that to a jury, they've won, okay? It slid. It was almost at the end anyway. But, you know, not just to have a confession, but to have, you know, like a whole story of like how it happened, what happened, you know, like where they were, what got them there, and whatever. If they can have that to present to a jury, they have like an entire story. Like, that's more believable, right? Like, a jury's gonna buy into that. A jury's gonna say, oh, this makes more sense, this is believable because, you know, it's a whole story. It's not just, you know, this one confession. Does that make sense? And that's why a lot of these people get so trapped, is because they have not just given confessions, they've given whole stories. Well, a lot of these police officers coerce them into these stories. They fed them pieces of the story. And The Innocent Man talks a lot about that. And it's interesting, you know, like, when you look at that and you look at overall the consistency between a lot of these stories, like, you know, like with Brendan Dassey and, what do you call it? Stephen Avery. This is like closed off up here. I don't know why. Shoot. Come on, camera. It's fallen over 50 times tonight. I wonder why it's closed off over there. But anyway, with Brendan Dassey and Stephen Avery, what's interesting is there's a whole story there too, okay? And so, you guys are either like, some of you are really interested in this conversation, or some of you are like, I am so bored of this conversation. But like with the Brendan Dassey and Stephen Avery case, okay, if you look at that, there's a story. When you look at The Innocent Man, there's a story. When you look at, what do you call it? The guy from the staircase, there's a story. When you look at these people, these crime documentary, or these crime things based on, if you look at the confession tapes, that documentary is interesting as well. I'm only halfway through it, but it's very similar. When you look at these confessions, these false confessions that are supposedly given, right? They're stories. They're not just confessions. They're not just somebody, you know, taking responsibility for it. They're stories. So that it's kind of the selling of a story, so to speak. And that's what's interesting to me when you look at this, like all of these crime documentaries, the things, and maybe it's because I'm reading true crime and all that kind of stuff, but that's what's interesting to me, is that the consistency between a lot of these stories. Like when you look at the pieces that supposedly the police are feeding to them, which is like there's a piece in The Innocent Man, and this one, well, it has to do with something that one of the victims is wearing, okay? But they interview the 2 different suspects that are convicted separately. They both come up with the exact same story that's basically, beside the confession, what nails them, right? And it's incorrect information that they had been given, the police had been given, by a statement from somebody else months before. So, you want to sit there and tell me that there's no, it's crazy to me. I'll tell you, the other thing is, I'm sitting here watching this is, like, this investigator, she is like, not investigator, reporter, she's like writing a book about it. Well, now, she was writing a book about this case, or helping with this case, but at the end of the documentary, it said she was doing something else. But anyway, she's really good. Like, she's really good. She, I will tell you, has no fear whatsoever. She, like, goes right up into these people's houses that are supposed suspects from, like, 30 years ago. She's like, do you want to talk to me about this? And they are, like, they are, like, cussing her out and stuff like that. She is not bothered by it whatsoever. And it is so interesting to see her in these situations. And I'm like, you know, I think I might be a little scared if I were you. You know, whether it's the supposedly non-structure of that small town. I mean, wouldn't you be kind of scared? And I think that that's really what happens in a lot of these cases, is that people do know things. You know, I think that's really what happens is, in small towns, people know things. Big towns, people know things. And they don't want to say because, you know, it's like, did you ever hear the study? This was done. My mother used to talk about this study all the time because it just, like, really upset her. There was a study that was done, and I think it was done, like, in the 80s or something like that, maybe. Oh, I should see if I can find the study to talk about it, but it's interesting. And, they staged a rape. Okay, so, like, you know, like in major cities, but this was in New York City, like staircases that go down like that to, like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, so here's the street, and then there might be, like, a little staircase like that that's just, like, one little, like, staircase down, and there's, like, a door or whatever there. Broad daylight, woman getting raped on one of those staircases, and it was, like, a study to see, like, who would come and who would walk by and do something, who would call the police and who wouldn't. People would not intervene because they were afraid of, like, the consequence. Like, this was a huge study that was done, like, and I remember my mom used to talk about it. She's like, can you believe that people would just, like, not intervene because they were, like, afraid of how it would affect them? It's crazy, isn't it? I think a lot of people are afraid that it will taint their life, you know, and, like, not just with that situation, but with, like, even knowing just, like, you know, one thing. And there's a piece like that in The Innocent Man, when, like, somebody has had a piece of information for, like, 30 years, and this reporter says, why didn't you ever come forward with it? And he said, well, I kind of just assumed they got the right guys, and maybe I was wrong. And I'm like, this is, I don't know, it's just this. Oh, and then at the end of it, they cited a statistic that 4% of all people in the prison system in the United States, which 4% sounds small, but I think it sounds like a lot, honestly, when you hear the numbers. I think the number is something like 90,000 people, okay? They say the number, too. I can't remember what it is, 80 or 90,000. 4% of all people that are in prison are wrongfully convicted and innocent. 4% of the people in our prison systems are innocent. It's like 90,000 people in our country. Can you even believe that? Like, you know, I'm always reminded whenever I watch one of those things, you know, we watch a hour-and-a-half documentary, or we watch a 10-part documentary or 2-season documentary, and for us it's about what happened and somebody being killed and that victim's family being affected by it for, you know, whatever, 10 episodes, or, you know, who's in prison wrongfully convicted and are they getting out, the lawyers that are involved, and all that kind of stuff. But it always reminds me of that scene at the end of Fargo with Frances McDormand when she's sitting in that police car and she's saying to that guy that like killed his wife and did all that stuff, and she's like, all of this just for money, you know? It's just like so sad. I can't remember her exact line, but she says something like that, and I just remember like what like a profound moment that was, you know, in that movie. That movie is fantastic anyway. If you've never seen Fargo, you should see it. And it's so bizarre, but so great too. That scene when she's in the car dealership, he's like, she says something like, he's running, he's fucking running, or something like that. Is so hilarious, and that guy leaves. But, God, I should watch that again, that's so good. The thing is that when you get to my age, like, to rewatch movies, you're like, there's so many good movies out there I haven't seen, why rewatch a movie that I have seen, you know? I may not have time to watch this movie, so I don't know that I want to rewatch another one. But, I was thinking about my Uncle Dave. He was the other day, and I remember I said something to him about reading books or movies, and he goes, you know, at this point, like, I don't even know that I'm going to see the sequel come out to some of the movies that I wanted to see, so what's the point? I thought, oh, God, it's so sad, like, and he was right, you know? It's so sad. If you could pick an age, dependent on also your circumstances at that age, that you would just stop life, and life would just, like, you wouldn't get any older, you wouldn't get any younger, you just continue to do, you know, what you're doing, that, not like Groundhog's Day, but like, we would never, like, get any older or change, we would just, like, stay at this age, what would it be, you know? That's my question for the day. It's a lunchroom poll. But what I was going to say was, you know, it's interesting because, you know, we watch these documentaries and we, you know, get engaged and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, this has been these people's lives for literally like 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, you know? It's all their life is about. It's just this crazy town. One of the questions I get asked when I use lip balm is, does lip balm make your lips drier? I would say, hands down, yes, would be my answer to that. And, like, and I'm using high-end lip balms tonight, like this is Chanel. I was using that Tatcha, which I really like. And then this is not, like, the highest-end lip gloss. I think I'm going to get, there's a couple other lip glosses that I want to get, but lingerie lip gloss by NYX, but I like it. But literally in 5 minutes, my lips will. I do notice with the lip gloss that my lips be popping. No, I do notice that if I put it on over the lip balm, it stays on a little bit longer. So I'm sure it's probably like more meant to go over like lipstick. But at the same time, like watch. So it's 12:35 a.m. now. I'm sure like in 2 or 3 minutes it'll probably be like time to put some more on. Time to make the donuts. You guys remember that commercial? I loved that commercial back in the day. I think all that stuff is interesting. I love watching documentaries because, I mean, documentaries are more interesting to me than just watching regular movies because I think we're seeing, like, you know, insight into, like, somebody's real life. And I don't even really care, which I think is kind of like the appeal of reality TV too, but I feel like there is 100 times more editing in reality TV than there ever is in documentaries, you know? Which is why I don't love reality TV the way that I used to. I mean, I still watch a lot of it, but back in the day, I was like, I religiously watched like all of the Real Housewives. Alex and I watched most of them, and then what I didn't watch with him, I would watch with Tanya, like New York, I used to always watch Chris Lee Knows Best. It's so staged. I don't watch it anymore. But I think it's their sweet family. I mean, I've watched literally Survivor, Amazing Race. Like, I've watched so much reality TV through the years, and I used to love it. Big Brother. Like, I used to be such a huge Big Brother fan, honestly. And like, Tanya the other day was real excited because they had like announced like who the new season of Celebrity Big Brother is, which I like. To me, I'd rather watch Big Brother with a bunch of people that I don't know than Celebrity Big Brother. That's not interesting to me. But like, I'm just not even interested in Big Brother anymore. I'm just not. I don't know what's changed in me. Like, I used to really, really love reality TV, and I just don't have like a huge interest in it anymore. I don't know what it is. And you know, like recently, when like Alex is watching it, like I do like the reunion shows and stuff, but those just seem like highly toxic. When Alex is like watching it and I'll be like doing something in the background or whatever, it just seems like a lot of yelling and screaming. And you know, I mean, Vicky from the OC, what, she's been on that show for like, you know, 12 years now. She's still waiting for people to fill her love tank. I mean, it's just the same stuff over and over and over again. And it's like, it's just a lot of just cattiness, just yelling and screaming, you know. And it's like, I don't know. And then I think like, I don't know, does that perpetuate that kind of behavior with us in our real lives then sometimes, you know? Like, do we see that and think that's the norm and we, you know, copy that? I don't know. I think I'm going to drive over to where the car dealerships are and just drive down that street and just see if I get an idea for anything. What do you think? Do you guys want to go with me while I do that? Okay. Those people have a humongous chandelier in their condo. Those condos have been there forever. They're like these like 4-story high condos. They're really nice. They've been there for a long time. These people have like this cascading chandelier like in their living room. I'm like, ooh, that's a lot for a little condo like that. My husband loves chandeliers. He'd probably have that hanging right in our doorway if he could. Seems like just yesterday I was at my meeting and now it's been a whole week. Can't believe it. It seems kind of funny. Well, Tuesday it'll have been a whole week. Alex said we're supposed to get more snow later in the week. I wish we would have like an honest to goodness like snow day where, you know, like businesses are closed and Alex gets out of work and kids can't go to school. You know, like that's what I wish we would get. But I don't think that's going to happen. It's like we don't really ever get that anymore. I mean, there's snow everywhere. It's pretty. But we don't get that like we used to. I was looking at the weather earlier, and I think it's like Wednesday or Thursday we're supposed to have snow showers. But like nothing of any kind of like, no, like, you know, not like, you know, 5 or 10 inches or anything like that. It's like, less than an inch. This coffee is like so, I've been like sipping at the very, very bottom of it. We went there today and I was so excited because I'm not like a person that loves flavored coffee, but I don't dislike it. Like, you know, like I got like the cinnamon Dolce, whatever, from Starbucks the Keurigs, and I really like those. And I really like the pumpkin ones too. There's something about that that I like. Well, when we go to brunch on Sundays, I'll try like the different flavors because sometimes like I don't like to drink it like regularly every day. Like if I was gonna, like I wouldn't every day get like hazelnut or pumpkin spice, like flavored coffee. I just wouldn't do that. Oh my God, Taco Bell sounds so good right now. I haven't had Taco Bell in a long time. But Like, I wouldn't do that, like, every day, if that makes sense. But, like, you know, for brunch, I like to do something different. And where we go to brunch on Sundays, Patachu, they usually have, like, well, they have, like, okay, so they'll have, like the Patachu blend, and then they have the Patachu decaf blend, and then they have, like, 2 regulars and, like, a decaf. And they'll do, like, something that's like a Sumatra, and then they'll do, like, a flavored coffee, right? That are like the 2 regulars. And so today, this is the Patachu blend that I ended up having to get, and I'll tell you why. Because their flavored coffee today was chocolate raspberry, or raspberry chocolate, or whatever. It was so nasty. I literally took like 2 sips of it, and our waiter, who is so fantastic, I love him, he came, and he was like, I was like, hey, I really do not want to be an asshole, but can you take this coffee? I can't drink this. He's like, yeah, because a lot of people are having issues with that or something like that. He was like, it's really strong, isn't it? I said, it's really, really strong. Like, the raspberry chocolate taste in it was like, I felt like I was drinking like a raspberry chocolate. Like, it was too much. It was like, you know what? Okay, it slid, and I literally had to, like, pull over, and it slid over to the floor. I had to pull over, and I had to, like, pick up the camera and put it back up. So anyway, but I was talking about how this coffee was just, like, so bad, and it tasted like, it doesn't matter, it tasted like chocolate raspberry. And yeah, it wasn't even really that important of a thought. It wasn't as important as this person that literally has their brakes on right in my eyes. Can you see this? Okay, I hope you can see where you're going, Mr. Brake Lights. Oh, I didn't even look at those cars over there because I was just being like, okay, well, you can't really see anything. That's part of the problem, is the snow is so, that all the cars are covered with snow. That's not going to be very fun to go look at cars with snow, is it? Well, all right. Every car that I'm looking at in this car dealership over here has snow on top of it. You'd think if they wanted to sell a car, they'd go out there and they would dust the snow off the cars. I'm just saying. There's probably a couple people out there that work at car dealerships, and you guys are like, yeah, who do you think is going to do that? Because it's not going to be me. I'm so ready for this car to turn. It's getting ready to turn right now. Ooh, that was nice. I thought I was never going to survive that. Bob Evans down on the farm. There's a Bob Evans right there, and I'm so hungry for Bob Evans. Do you guys, you know what? I have been a vegetarian now for, I don't even know how long. A long time. $18 months as of this month. I have not had sausage, biscuits, and gravy from Bob Evans since then. Sounds good though. People always tell me there's like vegan sausage, biscuits, and gravy. I'm like, how do you make those? Or vegetarian? Well, I mean, I guess you could just like, they have sausage crumbles that you can get from Morningstar. And then you could just probably make vegetarian gravy, which I would think wouldn't be too hard, right? But like, that's a lot of work to make sausage, biscuits, and gravy. It's biscuits and gravy is what it is. But anyway, I call it sausage, biscuits, and gravy. My life, I'll do what I want. And here's where we're gonna go. We're gonna go to the Porsche dealership right here, and I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna get me a Porsche Carrera. As if. Let's see what we have out here. The Porsche dealership. Oh, we have a little cute Jeep Wrangler right there. Right in front. I wonder how much that is. It's got the big lights on it and everything. I'm just gonna pull in here. Oh, Lord. I wonder if I can be in here. Do you think I can? How much do you think this Jeep is? This is a cute Jeep, too. Oh, it's right next to a big Range Rover. Look. Can we see Peter Monn driving this car right here? This Jeep Wrangler? How cute is that? Okay, I'm gonna go. I want to see how much this deal is. These are not used, though, I don't think. It's a little icy outside. Ooh. Market-based pricing. Doesn't say how much money it is. As is. Fuel economy. Where's the price on this? Why would they not have the price listed? As is. There's literally no price on this thing. Oh, I bet you have to like call and ask for a price, don't you? Well, that sucks. Guess what? You're not getting my money. Let's go see this Range Rover over here. Or do we see Peter driving her? Now, you know this is Peter. I said to Alex, I said, what do you think about me driving a Range Rover? And he goes, I think it's sexy, Daddy. Oh, this one has 53,000 miles on it. Is that what it says, 53? Yeah, I don't want that. How many miles does this one have on it? $5,000 miles on it. I can do that. Ooh, and it has a nice... Ooh, it looks so nice inside. Kind of looks a little cold, doesn't it? Can we see Peter driving this? Yes, we can. Okay. But you know what I did not like? Is that I have no idea what the price was on that. That is a beautiful car. I'll look it up later. Or, how about Peter drive that blue Porsche Carrera right there? I think we'll take that. I wish. Not really though, not on the snow and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would drive one. You guys are like, Peter, we get to go car shopping with you. This is so fun. I know, at night when nobody can bother me, right? I kind of really have to go to the bathroom. I wonder if I should go to this BP Connect over here. I'm gonna drive down a little bit because I can't. I'll come back in just a second. I think there's like a Jeep dealership down here. By the way, my shows. That's shoes, but my shows are soaking wet right now, just in case you wanted to know. What is that? That is beautiful. This white, what is this? How do you get in there, even? It's a white Jeep, 4-door Jeep. Oh my God, that's so pretty. How do I even get in there, though? Not that way, that's for sure. I'm going around the roundabout twice. Hello! I'm at the parade. How are you? This is kind of fun, isn't it? Okay, well, I think maybe... God, all these car dealerships have so many Jeep Wranglers. I feel like that's probably like the most sold car right now, do you think? Like there's one, what is that? It's a 2017. There's a 2009. Mercedes-Benz, I can keep on driving past that. Can go riding my Mercedes, boy. Do you remember that song back in the day? Honda, my Anaconda don't want none. For every car I see, there's a song. Oh, they have like Jeep in a row. They're moving cars there. Nissan. Oh, I wanted to go in here and see what they had. Do they make Xteras anymore? I don't think they do. I'm gonna go up here and turn around. don't see any upstairs there. Maserati? I think so. Let's go. I'd take an Alfa Romeo in a heartbeat. Not really. I wouldn't really want an Alfa Romeo. Rent-a-car. That's me. I'm in a rent-a-car right now. Now, what's up here? Lexus. I would drive a Lexus. Volkswagen. I looked at the Volkswagen SUVs. I think they're real cute. Two Jeep Wranglers right in the window of this place. I think, oh, this is a Jeep dealership. Dodge Ram, Jeep. I'm gonna look there. Have you guys ever had this Joel's Hot Chicken? I mean, honestly, I can't go there because I don't eat chicken, but I've heard that it's really good. It used to be this place called Steak Burgers, and it was like, oh my God, their grilled cheese. They're like the best grilled cheese in the entire world. And they put these like long pickles and stuff on them. They were really good. I have no idea how long this vlog is going to be at this point. But I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys going car shopping with me because I wouldn't want to do it alone. Okay. Now, CarMax, you actually can't go in there because Tanya and I drove in there the other night, and they have it gated off because they don't want you to go in there and look at cars during the night. Oh, my battery's dying. Oh, my battery just came on. It said enough of falling over. I'm over it. So, all right, it's gonna end in just a second. I'm gonna get off here and go look at cars down this way, and then I'm gonna run into the gas station and go to the bathroom and listen to a little bit of my audiobook, and get a bottle of water at the gas station too since I'm out of coffee. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday, a wonderful beginning of the week. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.